www.thehighoffice.com for more information. The High Office, great work starts here. So, hello and good afternoon to all of our viewers, or I mean, good morning. Today marks the launching of the High Office's second official webinar. Here we will be posting webinars and other videos to help startups and SMEs during this global pandemic and beyond on our official YouTube channel. I am Zach Chuidian, a graduating student from the University of Asia and the Pacific and the IT and Marketing Specialist at High Office and ColorFinder. And I will be your host for today's webinar. Now, this type of webinar is not your typical teacher-student webinar, as it will be more of an interactive podcast between myself and the speaker and our guest host with a slide presentation. Today we are joined by someone who is not short of experience. He is a Doctor of Education in Training and Organizational Development at the De La Salle University Dasmariñas, Cavite. And he is also a business advisor to many. So without further ado, please welcome our special guest for today, Dr. Aldrin Antivola.
Okay, thank you so much, Zach.
Hi, Doc.
Good
And
morning.
good morning, Doc. We're also joined by
Hi.
our CEO of ColorFinder, Mr. Hernan Honcalada. He will be our guest host for today.
Uh-huh.
Hi.
Yes, sir. Good
Everyone.
morning also, Sir Hernard. Morning.
Hi, Dr. Alvin. Hi, Zach.
Hi, Doc. Hi, sir. How are you doing today?
Feeling good.
Okay, so question for Dr. Antivola. Do you honestly think startups and
Mhm.
small to medium enterprises can actually grow during this global pandemic?
Yes. Actually, that should be the very first mindset of an entrepreneur. That despite that there is a pandemic, but they could see a lot of opportunity out of that. Okay. So I am very optimistic that these entrepreneurs, whether you are micro, small, medium enterprises, still you could optimize, you could grow, okay, amidst the pandemic.
All right, very much well said. Okay, so without further ado, let's not keep the audience away from what they actually came to see. So,
Yeah.
Doctor, you may take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Zach. Okay, now for some, they might be asking us or asking me, what keeps me busy? So, what keeps me busy for the entire year is I'm trying to do strategic planning and management. I do executive coaching because there are some owners of companies who doesn't want anymore to go to formal education. So they will just ask me to coach them in their convenient time, and that's what I'm doing for executive coaching. Now, if companies have problems or beset with the problems, then there is where I come in also as an OD specialist. And for a company, because normally they will start small when they get big, so you'll be hiring already supervisors, you'll be hiring managers. But the problem is, these supervisors or managers may not think the same way as the owners of the businesses are thinking. Okay, so the concept here is how can you clone or make your supervisors, managers think the way the owners are thinking. Okay, so if that is the case, then there is where the intervention would come in, that they have to go through the process of having supervisory development seminar or yes, or right now webinar, as well as managerial development programs seminars. Now, one aspect also for an organization, which is very important, that if you have to perform, you have to perform as a team. So the problem with organizations again is that they are there, but they are performing on a standalone basis. So my role would normally come in is to make them and let them perform as one. let them perform as a
Mm-hmm.
team. Okay? Second to the last, companies would normally fail. You could easily determine because once, for example, I have seen the financial statement, and normally what I could easily see there is that sales are low, okay, expenses are too high. Now, if sales are low, meaning to say the problem is on the sales and marketing. Okay, so there is where I come in also to help the company how they can enhance their sales and marketing program, because actually the bread and butter of an organization is on the revenue generation. Okay, if you have business but you could not generate sales, you cannot have revenue, then I think it's a futile exercise going into business, right? So that's another one. And of course, other organizational trainings and seminars, just like this, that we're having webinars now because we are constraints of having this COVID-19. Okay, now I would like to begin with the word bounce back because from the time COVID 19 came in, so we were restrained or constrained not to perform or not to continue our business. Okay, because we
Mm-hmm.
were forced to go on ECQ, GCQ, the modified GCQ, or even worse is the lockdown, total lockdown. Okay, now I think it's almost 2 months, 3 months, okay, that most of the companies, especially the non-essentials, were put on hold. Okay, so their operations is halted, so no one can operate, even though you want to operate. So there are restrictions. So we have to follow by the government rules. Now that we are given now the chance to go back, because actually what is at stake is our economy,
Mm-hmm.
then bounce back. So from where we came from, the normal, then we have to bounce back now. So let me just define what is exactly bounce back. So bounce back is to return quickly to a normal condition after a difficult situation or event. Although we are still, okay, we are still in a situation that there's still a COVID-19, because maybe the only time that we can say everything is over if there is already a vaccine. But right now, we don't have that yet. We are just practicing, and because we are in the new normal, so we are just practicing what is supposed to be done in a new normal. For
True, true.
example, social distancing, uh, hand washing, mask is a must, okay, and other forms wherein we can avoid getting infected with this COVID-19. Now, how can you, because it's same as a ball, okay, then when you drop it, supposedly a ball is expected to bounce,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Well, of course, I'm
Mm.
talking about a ball with filled with air, so it has to bounce,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and when it bounces, it should go up again, okay, and this is where the word bounce back came from, okay. If you release the ball, when it hits the floor, it should bounce. Now, how fast can we bounce back coming from this situation that we are affected by this pandemic? Now, I would like to begin and let me just share this to you. So, this is what I derived from the research that I have conducted very recent, and I call it the normal to new normal adaptation. So, Antivala 2020. Now, you could see in this particular graph, so x-axis is the time, level of performance is the y-axis. Now, if you have noticed, there's a blue dot there. We're coming from that point that's the normal. So maybe that is 2019 back, okay? Because early 2020, starting July, we have these cases already. Where in fact, in China, it started as early as November, I guess, or December 2019. Okay. Now, so from the normal, going try to refer to the of upper part of the slide. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so COVID-19 comes in, it deforms the normal. Okay, then the normal, because of that COVID-19, the normal becomes abnormal. Okay, why it becomes abnormal? Because we went to what you call now crisis. So of course, the very first thing is health crisis. So
Yeah.
this COVID-19. And it leads to what? It leads to an economic crisis. Because actually, there's a measure in economics that if you are 2 quarters that your GDP is low, then we are now in a recession. So we
Mhm.
call it now crisis. And why we call it abnormal? Because that is not the normal before. Okay,
Yes.
but
Right.
for
Right. Very true.
entrepreneurs, that doesn't know what to do, then maybe they will be confused. They may have the fear, like, how will I continue my business now? What if I will be part of those companies who will be bidding goodbye?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
It's been happening a lot
But
lately.
Mhm.
entrepreneurs or owners of businesses who knows this concept, because actually this coming of COVID-19 is just a change. And
Right.
in management, there is what you call
Change
change
management.
management. Okay. And how do you do
Right.
that? How do you do that? So meaning to say, because if there is a change, you expect, well, there's a saying or an adage similar to the principle in management that for every change, there is a resistance. Okay? So most of the entrepreneurs, because we're supposed to go to the new normal. That's what they're saying. Okay, coming from normal, abnormal, going to the new normal. Okay, we have to manage the change, and please expect that if there is a change, level of performance will go down. Now, the ideal, which I would go directly, is the green slide. You can see it. It's the green slide. And when you go to that green point, or the green curve, I mean, you have to do it very fast. But for some, the problem is they could not bring it immediately to the new normal. So productivity goes down. So what's an example of productivity? Or let's say non-productive. So sales is going low.
Right.
Your employees are not really performing. What we expected from them, they are not doing it. Because we really expect that if there's a change, that level of performance will really go down. But if you know what to do, then you can easily move them to the new normal. And if you accept it or try to go into that new normal, what you have to do is just to decide, okay, whether you would like to conform or you will not conform. So conformance to to the new normal or non-conformance to the new normal? Because once you decide that you will conform, it will lead you to transformation. Meaning to say, there is now an acceptance. Okay, because by the way, when you go through from normal to new normal, okay, there are different emotions that will happen. For example, one particular emotion that you might have is what you call denial. No, I still want to have the old normal. Okay? I don't want these things. Like we have to be working from home. We have to be locked down to have the GCQ. We still want to have physical um, meeting with a client. But of course, the current scenario will not allow us. So we have to conform with that. And once you
Right.
conform with that, you go to transformation, you should have first the right mindset. Okay? And that would be another form of emotion, and that is what you call acceptance. So you accept now that this is the new normal, then it would be easy for you. Okay, part of that right mindset or acceptance is you should be able to define a certain platform. Okay, when I say a certain platform, that will now be maybe the new policy. Okay, if you are following, let's say for your people, to let your people follow those policies, it could be technologies that you will be using so that the services that you are providing will still be the same. So as if there's nothing changes, okay, within the operations that you are having. So if you set already that platform, then it will be easy for you to perform. Now, when you are now performing, actually this time, this is the best time. That what we have to do is to help each other. But you know what? We cannot still avoid having competition. And we know that when you do business performance, you should be able to have competitive advantage over the others. Okay? And having competitive advantage over the others, then that's the time also that you will outperform your competitors. Okay? So my point here is that how can you bring your organization, your business, your company to the new normal? Okay? And please remember that one, if right now still you are in the abnormal, the more that your performance will plummet down. That's why I'm telling you, as much as possible, try to transform immediately and try to adapt to the new normal. Okay? So I do hope, I think I have made this clear. And if I will ask maybe my colleague here, and of course the viewers, what if there are items that is not so clear to you, so maybe you can interact with me and probably ask me about this one. You can just put it on the group chat, okay, if you
Totally.
have questions or queries. Okay,
All right.
now,
All right.
so
I'll
let
also
me
put
move
that in the
on.
YouTube chat.
Yeah, if you came across with these words from the famous Jack Ma, he mentioned recently that for people in business, 2020 is really just a year for staying alive. So don't even talk about your dreams or plans. Just make sure you stay alive. So if you can stay alive, then you could have made a profit already. Okay, that's by Jack Ma. So meaning to say,
So,
if I mean, will make it in Tagalog, parang sinasabi, okay, makasurvive ka lang ngayon, okay na yon. Although, if you know what to do, you can even do better. Okay? Pero sa iba, kumbaga sa kwan, bonus na to kung makasurvive ka. Ibig sabihin,
right,
if
correct.
your business is still there, you are still operating your business, then well, it's good for you. Because actually, there are a lot of companies who bid goodbye already in the
Right.
world of business. Okay? Marami
Yeah,
na
almost
nawala.
2,000, Dr. Aldrin, right? 2,000
Yeah,
companies right now.
opo. And I think from the latest count of Dole in terms of the number of workers, they were saying it's about 2 million already who lost their jobs already.
Yes, around 2 to 7
It's so
million.
sad. Yes, yes. So it's better now that if we could really pick up our business immediately, as I mentioned, if you want to bring them to the new normal, bring them to the new normal immediately. I don't know. Maybe I can refer this to the time, but Sir Bernard probably could be on the almost same age as me, but Zach probably doesn't know yet what is his
We're
starstruck.
Gen Z.
No, I didn't reach that.
But in my time, during this particular
Sir, Dr. Aldrin,
time,
you
yes.
mentioned earlier denial, so I'm in denial right now. I
Ah,
didn't know stuff.
okay. Because this is the time when this particular TV program is a hit, okay, at GMA 7, if I may mention it. And they were saying with this, I don't know if this could be tagline for them, Starstruck, dream, believe, survive. Right. So for let's say an individual who would like to become an artist, okay. So if you have the dream, then you can go on doing what do you call this one? They have to fall in line, go to the TV station, rehearse or whatever is that. Then you will be competing with a shortlisted,
They go for audition.
yeah, audition. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. So you have to go into a sort of audition. Then they will select, and there will be competition. Then you will, if you are part of, let's say, the top 10, then you have to survive if you would like to be the starstruck artist or actress that they are looking for. But this time, it's different. It's COVID. So, how do we name it? This time, it's COVID struck. We were struck by the COVID, and this time, it's different. You have to survive, believe, and dream. Okay, it's the other way around. You, as much as possible, as Jackman mentioned, you have to survive first. Then you have to believe that you can overcome. Because actually, going into a survival mode is a very challenging task, and you have to believe that you can overcome that. And of course, still hold on to your dream because I know you have the vision for your company. But what you have to do now, you have to survive first. So if you are COVID struck,
Yeah.
you have to survive, believe, and dream. Now, I don't
Wow.
know if I will ask you between these two, which one will be your choice? Is it ready, aim, fire? Or is it ready, fire, aim?
Hmm. What do you think, Sir Bernard?
Me already aim fire or ready fire aim. Uh, I think ready aim fire.
Ready, aim, fire. Okay, so the first one. Okay. Now, actually, um, well,
Since
sorry,
I've been confused,
because
but for now, yeah.
okay, because I intentionally well asked this one, but I am asking for a choice wherein the answer is not here. Okay,
Hey,
because actually the answer is supposed to be okay. So there's no choice between these two, but the answer is it should be aim,
ready.
ready, fire.
That makes sense. That makes
Now, for the
sense.
past 2 months, for the past 3 months, supposedly, if you know that your business is tough for a while, then we're so busy, we have the fear, we're thinking of what if, what if, what if. But of course, we're worried about our business. Now, the question is because the first one is aim, aim is supposed to be planning. Now, question, did you stop for a while? Did you think, you think, I mean, you think for a while to do planning? Because having an aim is part of the planning process. What I'm saying is you have to plan. You have to do
Yes.
planning. Okay? Nakapagplano ka ba sa negosyo mo given the pandemic? Okay? Given that we know that it is no longer normal, wag na nating pilitin na bumalik pa sa normal because we really have to adapt and
And change.
embrace the new normal.
Yes. Very true.
Okay?
Very true.
So, if you have planned, you do planning, what does it tells you? Meaning to say, you are now ready. So if you are now ready, now that the government tries to relax some of the rules, the policies that businesses are allowed to go back, then once you go back, because you have planned, you do planning, you are now ready, then fire. You know already what to do. Okay? For example, just try to uh, reflect on, let's say, there's an issue about the beauty salon, barbershop. Why they have a hard time, let's say, trying to convince IATF that they can go back immediately because they are not ready. They're even expecting the IATF or the government will be the one, let's say including DTI, that these government agencies are the one who will give the guidelines. Or in fact, if let's say you have the association or even as an individual businessman, at least you have shown already your plan, how you will do it, then it will be easy already for the government to allow you. But the businesses are not ready. The government doesn't have also the idea how to do it. That's why until such time, they their operation is also on hold. Okay, similar to other non-essential businesses. But you know what? For these non-essential businesses, you can actually start. In fact, for some, for example, for the events management or for a travel tours, okay, just take a look at Cloak. What's the other one? KK Day? Is that KK Day? What
Yes,
they have
KKD.
done? Yeah. What they have done? They have done virtual tour. So those who cannot travel yet, they're providing virtual tour So the customers now has the idea now, oh, this is a good place where we can visit. And that's part of marketing already. Now, if there will be a time now, or the time comes now that you are allowed to travel, then you, again, you can have your travel goals, or you can now have your travel list of the places that you would like to go again. Right? So you can do that already. So, what I have say again, you have to aim, ready, and fire.
Fire.
So I'll go on the details of this. Okay. Now, the very first thing that you have to do is to define your cash flow. Okay. My question now, do you have a cash flow projection? Let's say up
Oh.
until December. In fact, my clients, what I did to them, I require them to submit a cash flow projection even until mid 2021. Okay, why until mid 2021? Because they were saying the vaccine may be available 18 months. Okay, so we if it started like January, then if we will count 18 months, so maybe it will be mid 2021. But in fact, we're not sure yet because even though there is already a vaccine, the next issue is the availability of those vaccines. We are third world country. We might not be given the priority
Yeah,
because
that's
it
the
would
rumor
what
at the
would
time.
happen, yeah, what
Correct.
would happen is um, probably it would be on a bidding basis. So country will have to bid. Okay, but again, because of our status, of our country, then we might not be able to bid. So those who have money may have the first uh, chance or priority of getting that particular vaccine. Okay. Now, why cash flow is very important? Because there is where you would see whether you can still survive or not. So, for
Mm.
example, if I ask you, do you know what would be the remaining cash you would have by around October 2020? If you cannot answer me exactly what is that amount of money that you still have, okay, let's say in your pocket and in your bank, then you don't know how you would survive your business. So the very first thing that you have to do, you should know first
The
your
cash
cash
flow.
flow. Okay?
Yeah.
Because expenses are there. Whether you operate or not, you have fixed expenses. Especially if you allow your employees to still stay with you, then they can still stay. But maybe for some employees who has the opportunity to transfer to other companies, then they could not wait. And let's say until such time that they will be asked to work back again. Okay? Because
Right.
some of them will be no work, no pay. And can you
Mm-hmm.
imagine? Can you stay for 6 months, no work, no pay? I think that's impossible. Because if the
Yeah.
company is not capable anymore of paying you, then there will be really be a big problem. Okay, so first cash flow, that's very important. Second, you have to review your business model because with these changes, your business model, I am very sure that it will change also. Okay, why? Just take note that your revenue will be going down. For example, if you are projecting for 2020, hypothetical, let's say you're a small business, you're projecting 2020 for, let's say, 100 million sales for the whole year. Now, it will never happen anymore, that 100 million. probably it could just be 40 million. For some, they were saying in their industry, 60% will be gone from the original forecast. So they can just probably achieve about 40% only of the total projected. So if that is 100 million, then it would be 40 million only. Now, to have a revenue of 40 million, but your expense is designed to be higher than your revenue, then that is not a good business model. Why? A good business model is said to be that revenue should be greater than your expenses. Now, how can you make your business model to be a superior business model? To make it a superior business model, what you have to do is you have to look into your expenses also. And what are those expenses? Of course, having your workforce. Okay, what other expenses you have? Rental. And can you imagine if let's say you are paying 100,000 rental and your revenue is this much only, that will be a big problem. So what
Correct.
you have to do is you have to think of something, okay, as an option. So how can you lessen your rental? Okay, that's why the high office will be a favorable option. How will you do it? Then you can have the co-working space. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's say hypothetical. As I mentioned, if let's say before you are paying for 100,000 office space, then rather than having the traditional office space, why not consider a co-working space wherein you may just be paying around 20 to 30,000 per
Can be lower, depends
month
on the
or even
numbers.
lower. Yeah, because of course it depends on the space, uh,
Mhm.
area that you will be consuming or getting. But that is very much lower cost already. Okay, so these are the things that you have to do. And other expenses, okay, like, of course, office furnitures. In a co-working space, it is provided already by you.
Correct.
For Wi-Fi connection, it is provided already by you. What else?
Unlimited
Uh,
coffee.
Yeah, unlimited, which I will show later on the benefits, okay, of having co-working space. Okay, but what
Kabisado
I'm
nila.
saying, yeah, but what I'm saying is that there is a lot of advantages. Okay, of course, there are also disadvantages. Okay, like you might not be saying with each other, with your staff, but you know what? There's always a solution for that. For companies who are working remotely or in a co-working space, they try to have a quarterly gathering and they try to have all these personnel or office staff of them so that they can still uh, do, let's say, they call it checking in, okay, checking in with other employees. Okay, so still, because these are controllable. Once it is controllable, then there will be no problem because it's within your control. So meaning to say, you can do a lot of things. You can have options that you would like to have for your business. And of course, as I mentioned, going back to the ready aim fire or the other one, but what I'm saying, it's aim, ready, fire. You have to do planning. And the planning that you should be doing is what you call scenario planning. Scenario planning, why? Because as you can see in the X and Y axis, the Y axis is uncertainty, so low and high. For X axis, controllable and uncontrollable. So these are two continuum, okay, both ends, low to high and controllable to uncontrollable. Now, what is the scenario right now? In terms of uncertainty, okay, what do you think? Low or high? In terms of uncertainty, what do you think? Is it low or high? Actually,
Yeah.
it's
I would say
high.
high. Oh, okay. Tama nga.
Yes, high. Because we are not certain about
Pero,
we are not certain when exactly COVID will go, okay, or will begin, and so on and so forth. How about in terms of controllability? Are we in control, or is it uncontrollable?
I would say
It's
as of the moment, uncontrollable.
uncontrollable.
No cure.
Yes. So it's both high and uncontrollable. So therefore, what you have to do is scenario planning. And when you say scenario planning, it is like saying the what if scenarios. Okay? What is that what if? Normally in business you have to do plans which are on a base case, best case, and the worst case.
Scenario.
Okay, worst case scenario, base case scenario, best case. Or it's like when you plan, try to have a plan low, medium, high. Now, what I ask for my clients, I told them, okay, you do like low, medium, high. You try to have still worst case, the base case, and the best case. Okay, so we can see what would be the best case. If that best case is not attainable, then let's go back to the worst case scenario. So you are ready. Why? Because you have planned for it already. And that's what I'm saying. Aim, ready, fire. So whatever is that, because normally it's very easy to plan. But when you execute it, when you implement it, the problem is it goes a different way. You thought
mhm,
this is what
right.
you have planned, but actually the reality is this. So it's managing expectation and reality. Now,
Yeah.
having the expectation and reality, the good thing that you could do is you should have a different scenario so that whatever that fits the real situation now, then you are ready for it. Unlike if you plan it to be like this, but is very much different from the reality, then you will just get frustrated. Right? So you
Agree.
have to do the what if scenario or use the what if scenarios, uh, and that is what you call predictive planning. So you can predict, you have to predict what if, okay? Parang kung sa Tagalog, paano kung ito mangyari? Okay, ito ang gagawin natin. Kung ito mangyari, ito ang gagawin natin. So you are ready for that, for the different scenario. And when you plan, whatever is that scenario, and if you think the reality is appropriate for this particular plan, then you have to do it intentionally. Sa Tagalog ulit, sadyain mo. Okay. Modesty aside, for the clients I am handling, of course, all of us are really expecting that everything will go down. Everything will not be favorable. But you know what? It turns out one of my client, it's really very ironic. Why? Supposedly sales will be low. But you know what? Sales are even higher than what we expected normally for 2020. And in fact, they were able to buy a new processing equipment. They are a medium scale food manufacturing company. Okay? Manufacturing peanut butter. Okay? So I was really surprised because when I told them, okay, make cash flow projection, they have done that one. Okay, do this one, do this one, do this one, and they have done it. And when they have done it, that was the result. Another company whom I am handling, which is in the insurance industry, okay, we are surprised also. We are expecting that the bottom line will be negative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are expecting for it already. But you know what? Because they are the very first one to have this plan, which is they call it they have this business continuity plan, and it ends up that they have 16% net income. So much higher than supposedly break even or negative, but
Yeah,
they even
surprising
have
actually.
positive. Okay? Why? Because we do it intentional. Sinadya namin na hindi dapat kahit may pandemic, okay, they have to do this one. Okay, just to give you an example, uh, for those employees who are asked to work remotely, then they were provided with laptop. If they don't have the Wi-Fi connection, they asked the purchasing department to buy. Um, uh, what was this? Can I name it? Let's say globe tattoo.
Oh,
Okay,
prepaid Wi-Fi.
where
Yeah.
they can, yeah, they
Fine.
pocket Wi-Fi, where they can bring it to their respective homes. Right? Then all these IT related thing were planned already because of course that's insurance, so security has to be very high. Okay, so they have done that one already. Right. Now what I'm saying is that okay, technology comes in. I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, and later on, that's what I will be sharing very quickly as far as the how technology could help. Okay, whether a small or a micro, a small or a medium enterprise.
Actually, though, I think
And
a
please
big
don't
thing.
forget.
Sorry.
Yes, sure.
Sorry, Doc, I think a
Yes,
big
go ahead,
issue
Sam.
nowadays is with regards to internet. Because yes, I agree that technology is the future and it's what everyone should be getting into now, especially given the situation. But I think the biggest problem we
Uh-huh.
have in the Philippines is a lack of a stable internet connection. Because yes, companies can go out
Yes,
get uh, pocket Wi-Fi's from Smart and Globe, but the problem here is that is there signal in that area. One of our weakest areas is
yes,
always cellular signal and internet signal. So I think that's one of the
yes.
challenges we have to
But
face.
but I do hope, of course, through the ICT, they can manage this one, and we do hope as what we're expecting from the third telco when they come in, all these problems can be solved already.
Also, there's a
Okay.
third telco
Now
coming
to go
already.
back, yes, actually they have started already.
Oh, what's
They are
that? Which one
now
is this, sir?
into the implementation.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. In fact, one of my client is a provider. Okay, to the third telco.
oh okay.
Okay.
Can we move on?
So okay. Now, as far as planning is concerned, Okay, I really love this concept that when you plan, you always begin with the end in mind. Okay, you should know to define your destination. Okay, then try to work it back because once you know your destination, let's say you really want to make your business profitable. So actually, to make it profitable, very simple. Just make your revenue high, lessen your expenses.
Yeah.
Okay? That's why when I knew the high office, immediately I say, oh, this is great. Most of the businesses should be able to appreciate this one because it
Correct.
could really help what? Try to bring down their cost or their expenses. Okay?
Yeah.
Then if
And
I may proceed, so whatever you want can be yours, but it will take planning and resource dedication. Okay. Sorry, but I have to mention this one. For some companies, for some businesses, they would like to achieve a certain goal. But you know what? In terms of resource provision, there is where they came so weak. Okay? Parang sinasabi ko, gusto nila itong magawa, marating nila, pero ang nangyayari, ayaw naman nilang magbigay ng resources. So they don't provide the necessary resources. That's why one particular aspect that you have to look into is to how you provide the resources that your people will be needing. Okay? Now, because for a CEO or an owner, there are three C's. Tatlo lang naman ang nasa isip nila. Ano po yun? So what are those? Number one, first C is cash. So you are referring to sales. And cash should be going higher. Another C is cost. And what they would like to have is your cost must be low. So cost down. And more importantly, the ultimate goal of an organization is towards customer satisfaction. And when we talk about customer, you are considering here your external, so that is your customer who would be buying from you, and you have your internal. Your internal customers, you as a business, are your employees. You have to satisfy them also. Okay. And once you can just follow these three important C's, that can be translated into this income statement. So the sales or the cash will reflect on the revenue. The one with the red color, okay, with the asterisk, those are costs. The cost of goods sold or cost of service, the OPEX, the interest, the taxes. Okay, these are costs. And what will you do with this? What you have to do is just to manage them to make them low. So if your revenue is high, your expenses are low, then you can get your profit. Now, how can you have your sales high? You just satisfy your customers. Then, internally, who are contributing to this cost? Those who are contributing to this cost are your employees. Now, how can you make them productive? Now, if you can just do like having less for more, what is that less for more? You can have one or two employees only, but they are having an output equivalent to 10 employees. Now, the question is, can you do that? Yes, you can do that. How is it so? You plan. That's why I'm telling you, you do planning. And where is that? Base it on a very good design of your business model. Okay? Now, as I mentioned, you have to stop and think. So when I say stop and think, you do planning. So you may set your non-financial goals. What are those non-financial goals? Help create more jobs, retain your current employee, or for the financial goals, maybe you would like to have a non-negative on business operation. Meaning to say, you would like to see your income statement on a monthly basis not having a negative, but it can still be positive amidst the pandemic. So kahit na may pandemic pa, kaya mong operate yung business mo na mag-yield ka pa rin positive. Paano yun? That's possible. Then maybe you would say you would like to growth on net income in 3 years. So to illustrate it, when you do that one, you should have a projection. If it is 3 years, then maybe if you can see you would like to have your revenue to go up from 2 million to 3 million. But the problem is you would like, let's say for 2020, you try to give a projection of 3 million. But as I mentioned, it will never happen anymore. So maybe you could just have 1 million. Then you can just aim again by 2021 or 2022 that you could have 3 million or more. Okay. So you design what will be your cost of goods sold? What will be your cost of service? Okay. Because actually you can define it. Then you will be left with a gross margin. Now, what is that OPEX that you should maintain so that you will still have your net income? So in the case of 2020, if you try to look at it, supposedly, if there is no COVID, probably you can have 500K net income. But can you design that 2020 you can still close the year with at least break even? Yes. Then you design it. So if you will design it that you will not be negative, then you plot it now on a monthly basis. Okay? So if you're projecting 1 million for 2020, because you have your actual maybe January, February, March, but April to December is now the actual implementation of your plan. So you can have your revenue 100 for July, 100K for August, and so on and so forth. Okay, then you try to plot also your cost of goods sold, you have your gross margin, then you can have your net income. And you will be surprised that you can still make your business positive. That's how you do it. Okay, and you have to do it intentional. Because if you try to set already your goals, your objectives, then you have to clearly define what will be your strategy. Now, if your objective is to lessen your costs, and maybe you have reviewed the cost components, and one of the contributing costs is rental, then what are those strategies that you could do? Okay, so there's a lot of strategies that you could do. Maybe one, you try to give up the traditional office space that you have, then you can just have it at home. But the problem is, in terms of branding, there could be problem because why is this guy having his business at home? Now, would there be an option that branding can still be there? It's like you are in a business district, okay, but actually you are at home working. And that is possible. That's another option, which I am trying to say you can have a co-working space. Why? You can get the address if you are subscribing in a co-working space or utilizing co-working space. So address is part of the package or the bundle. So can you imagine that your address is in a central business district? Okay, maybe like the high office within the film best area. Okay, and what else? It is very accessible. Okay, the
Correct.
ambience is very good and other things, which I will go now to the concept of co-working. So what is co-working is a movement to build community workplaces. Actually, the general principle or theory in economics about this one is what you call the shared economy. Okay, marami ang shared economy. Okay, yung tipo pang imbes na gagastos tayo na ako lang, ikaw lang ang gagastos kung negosyante ka. Okay? So, pwede pang yung iba pang nagnenegosyo, maghati-hati kayo, tapos yung gastos ninyo, parang nagbayad kayo sa isang facility, pero marami kayong naghati-hati. So, mas lower na yung cost sa inyo. Okay? So, maraming concept ng ganyan. For example, in a manufacturing, there is what we call shared facility. Parang manufacturing plant, or let's say commissary, pero may mga kanya-kanyang lugar kayo ng kusina. Then you can produce your product there. Okay? So, but you are already what? You are trying to follow the what's that? CGMP, the good manufacturing practices. Why? If you do it at home, maybe your home is messy. But if you try to have the shared facility, then you are already accredited, because it's very easy to have accreditation now because you can show that you are in a clean environment. Okay, so the same concept, okay, of having the shared economy. Okay, and this practice, co-working, is in that concept of shared economy. So you do here sharing costs and building your personal and business social networks is the goal. Right? So co-working, if you will try to notice, you have to consider accessibility, the community, creativity, communication. Communication is very important. If you are talking now about, let's say, remote working, okay, then collaboration is very important too, and of course, openness. Now, here are the benefits of co-working. So number one, super cost efficient. Okay, so renting an office space in the city is no joke.
So,
So instead, yes, po.
I love the word super cost.
Yes, super cost efficient. Really, really, right. Renting an office space is in the city is no joke. Okay, why? Sky high. The price is very high. But instead, hiring a flexible workspace will help you save on unnecessary added expenses. Second benefits, networking. In a co-working space, you are not working in isolation. Okay? Kasi common eh. Lalo na pag nandun lahat, iba-ibang company. So what you can do is you can collaborate. Maybe the other person who is doing business in that particular co-working space. So when you knew their business, let's say they are in logistics, you are in manufacturing. So probably that people or that person or that business who is into logistics, you can tap them immediately. And it's like you are co-located already in one particular place. Okay? So you can get an opportunity to meet tons of people. Those like you and those unlike you, either way, You can learn, you can work, or even collaborate with them in the long run. Third one is flexibility. Okay, sorry for the typo. Shared office space understand the need for flexibility for its members. Thus, they come up with multiple flexible plans that would suit you as a member. Okay, so for example, if you just need on a per hour basis, then you can do it. You cannot. You are not forced to have the monthly because probably the frequency that you will be having in that office is maybe just weekly. Then you just have to pay it on a weekly basis or even on an hourly basis. If you have to have your own space, like having four slots or four individual chairs, for example, then you can do it. And the co-working space, especially the high office, can design it for you, okay, based on your requirement. Okay, so it can be tailored fit to your requirement.
Right.
For motivation, so you have realized by now that a cozy home may not be an ideal workplace, okay? Because usually you can work or you can work from home or remote workly, but sometimes there's a lot of distractions,
There are
okay?
times,
Or sometimes
a
that
lot of times.
you need, yes, a lot of time, or sometimes you need a change in environment, okay? Well, when I visited the high office, I really love the environment. You see buildings, you see Laguna Lake. It's very refreshing to my eyes when I went there and I experienced it by myself. So the place is very cozy, okay, and like what Zach mentioned, free coffee, okay. So what else? Of
Not
course,
just
coffee,
coffee, but
water.
good coffee though.
What else will you look for? Okay, it's there. Okay, and of course, a very very friendly staff. Okay, so you will be motivated to probably have also that place. Okay, kasi di ba tayo gusto natin medyo may iba din, naiiba din. Oh. So, if you're working from home, maybe for some time, you go to the co-working space, the high office, then there's where you can find at least okay a different environment, okay, or a change in environment. There are amenities. Ito na po yun. Okay? It's premium location. Feel and best. There are workstations. Okay? You can choose your seat there. Of course, there's a way also if you want to, let's say if you're going there, I think you can book already if you're expected to go there. So you can do that. They have conference rooms. Okay? We're looking forward to be using the conference rooms once we have or we will be allowed to have already the mass uh, meeting or mass
Math
training.
gatherings, yeah.
Yeah, mass gatherings, yes. Okay, so if we can do that already, then high office has their facility. Okay, unlimited tea. Sorry, maybe coffee and
But of course, later on we'll do that. The unlimited tea, no.
okay. So I'll just place there unlimited tea and coffee. Okay, so
Oh,
whatever
Coffee
is
yes.
completed
that.
by Twinnings.
In fact, if you have the free water, that's already
Yeah. Also the water.
something. Okay, unless can you imagine if you still be bringing your own water? Okay, that's very inconvenient. Of course, there are internet connection already. Okay, a very reliable one, and you can establish a community there. Okay, because as I mentioned, we will be meeting a lot of people okay, who are doing also businesses for and you know what? It's not local. Why? Because other foreign companies are already availing the services of the high office. They have representatives in that particular company who are staying in the high office. Then you can meet them. Then probably if you're just catering the local market, later on you can get idea how you can tap the global market also. Why? Because of the network that you have already or the community that you have already. And open seating or private cabin, I would say. So whether working alone with another person or in a team, you have a place for you. Okay, you can choose to work alone in a posh cabin or have the luxury of meeting new people while working in the common area. And as I mentioned, the conference room. So on a professional front, startups are often lost. So sometimes you need a professional environment. While meeting potential clients, investors, so hence co-working spaces provided with conference room with presentation. Okay? So meaning to say, if you have corporate presentations and you have this privacy, then they have it also. Now, going now to the co-working environment, if you will be working in a co-working environment, okay, let's take the case, you have a business, you are doing it before at home, your staff are remote working. Now, if you decided, or for example, before traditional office space, so you will give up now your traditional working space, then you have to bring it into a co-working space. Okay. Now, you still have to collaborate, to communicate. Let's say you are the owner, you are at home, your staff might be at the co-working space. Then other staff might be working in a remote work, maybe at home. Okay. These are the things that we have to consider. Three components. The team, okay, that's what I mentioned. The team and the workflow as well as technologies. Okay, as well as the technologies. Then, if the team now is okay, so you establish already the team, then you have to consider also that whatever is that workflow, if it is working well already in the office, when you go to uh, remote working, including a co-working space, what you have to do now is to just reassign, realign the workflow. That you have to make sure the same workflow that is effectively happening during the normal days. So dadalhin nyo lang. Okay? Dadalhin nyo lang to have it remote on a remote basis. Then technologies. Okay, let me just check. I'm still okay with my connection, Sir
Yes,
Zach.
Yes,
How
sir. Yes,
about
sir.
the YouTube connection?
I think everything is
Is it
okay.
still
Everything's still
okay?
good, sir. Everything's still good.
Okay. Okay. Then the third one is technologies. Okay. Why? If you're in the traditional office, communication can be fast because you just have to go to the table of your colleague, to your boss, or to anybody else. But this time, if you will be working in a co-working space, coupled with some of you who are in the remote working space, then technology will be very helpful. Okay, and technology now, okay, with this illustration, meaning to say the documentation, the physical setup of the hardware, the documents, the emailing, so that's part of communication, and so on and so forth. Okay, probably can be very complicated. But you know what? Because of the available technologies, it can be done fast and it can be done the same way as you are providing it before. Now, when I'm talking about technology, you just have to be smart. Why? There are available application softwares or available technologies which they are there where you can choose because there are some offering on a free. Okay, that's their business model. They're offering it for free. Okay, for some they are offering it for paid. So for paid, there are some that they offer it at a low cost. For some, they are offering it very high. Okay, and you know what? Even me before, I was a victim also of this. Let's say for a paid, because my fault is I did not go on a shopping first. So as if supposedly I have to do shopping. When I say shopping, okay, are these available services is almost the same rate. But you know what? There are some providers that they even provide a high quality service at a low cost. So one thing that you have to consider, try to do window shopping first. Meaning to say, try to have a comparative analysis. Try to compare the services of the different. Of course, you expect that for some, especially the free or the low cost, maybe the disadvantage of that is in terms of security, the security is quite low. Okay, because for some who provided it maybe on a higher price because they make sure that security of your file, of your documents, or everything, the data that you have is really very secure. Okay, so that's the trade-off. So it's up to you to decide. Now, very quickly, since you have to facilitate the collaboration, the communication, and the fast services that you will be providing to your customer, because that will define your customer satisfaction, then these are some. But you know what? For every type of software, you can have hundreds of application. There's a lot. Okay? And just a disclaimer, uh, the the brand or the company example of the application softwares that I'm trying to share here uh, is not actually okay. Uh, Please do understand that this is just for example purposes or for discussion purposes. Okay? Please don't take this na, hindi, yung kasi yung nirecommend ni Dr. Antibola, hindi po. Okay, tapos mamaya, nagka-problema kayo, hindi po, wag po ganun. Okay? This is for discussion purposes only. Okay, so actually, I still place mobile hotspot because that's part of remote working, co-working, because not, of course, all the time you will be in the at the high office or at the co-working space, you will be going out also. So it's important that you should have the mobile hotspot. Okay, so you have maybe Globe Tattoo, a smart pocket Wi-Fi. Okay, but if you are at the high office, you don't have to worry because you have your internet connection there. You have the Wi-Fi there. Okay.
Right.
Uh, You can have the remote desktop software, and you can use like TeamViewer, any desk. What is this particular software? For example, if my staff is at the high office, I am at home. Now, she's performing, let's say, an Excel file, which a little bit complicated. He doesn't know the command, how to do it. Now, the easiest way is to call me. So, meaning to say, the staff will call me, and she will ask me. But I don't have the idea how I can see it. Right. So there's another software which is the screen sharing, okay, which actually I place it also TeamViewer. Let's say Zoom or this Google Meet or MS Teams, okay, is also a screen sharing software. But the difference between screen sharing software and a remote desktop software, for screen sharing, I can just see it and I can give the instruction how to do it. But there will be limitation. Because what if your staff is not really skillful enough first to understand your instruction and to follow your instruction? So there will be a hard time now giving instruction to your staff. So it's better to do it yourself. Now the question is, can you do it yourself? Meaning to say, it's on the laptop of your staff at the high office. I am at home. Can I manage remotely the laptop of my staff who is at the high office? Is it possible? Yes. Then you can use, let's say, TeamViewer, any desk. So meaning to say, you just have to log in to to her computer. And when you log into her computer, you can already manipulate it. Meaning to say, you yourself can do the encoding. So it's very easy now to do the coaching process. Okay? Because for some, they don't want the co-working space or the remote working, because what if there's a lot of questions? So I will just keep on just answering them all these queries. But you can do it the same as you are present together with your staff. Okay, so the remote desktop software as well as the screen sharing software. Now, for just, let's say, FYI, okay, on a real-time basis, what's the status now? What are you doing now? If you are asked to log in the status of what you're doing, not that you are trying to serve as a CCTV to your employee to find out what they are doing. That's not the point. But at least you are updated what they are doing. Okay, then you can use, let's say, FB or Facebook Messenger, Viber, etc. For screen recording tools, okay, why is this important? For example, you have a poor memory, you cannot recall the meeting or the things that you have discussed, or there are presentations or illustrations that was done during the meeting and you were not able to copy it, then there's no problem. Why? If you have these screen recording tools, so from the start of the meeting, you can immediately capture whatever is that. And you have now your basis for your minutes of meeting. Or if you're the secretary, there's no need for you exactly to do the handwriting, because you can just transcribe later on, or you do the transcription of the video recording to a documented minutes of meeting. Then video conferencing apps like, as I mentioned, Zoom, MS Teams, Skype, or Google Meet. Okay, so it's very easy. Well, sabi nga, anywhere, anytime. Okay, and just do it. But of course, don't do it when you are driving. Okay, it's a big no-no. Then you have to stop. Okay? You have to stop first because that's dangerous. Okay. Then online office suites that you will be using, like there's available MS Office Online, Google Docs, Google Sheets for the Excel worksheets, and so on and so forth. Now, you would like to have uh, a place where you can share your data so that anytime you can just say it there, then you can have, let's say, the cloud storage. One good thing also for cloud storage, if you have this file of yours, which should not sit only on your PC, then you can put it on the cloud. Then others with given authority, you can access it also. Okay, so it's very easy. Now, for personal productivity and maybe for the productivity of the team, you can have the to-do list. Okay, to-do list is like on a day-to-day basis. What are the things that you're supposed to do? You can have it there. You can share it through a calendar. Okay, so there's a lot of application softwares, but to mention some, any that do, Simple Note, and others. For project management, okay, same thing, there's a lot. Okay, one is you have Trello, you have Teamwork, okay, and other application softwares also. Okay, now there are note-taking apps, okay, the Notepad, okay, and so on and so forth for the note-taking apps. Now, there will be a case again that maybe your boss is on a trip, you are at the high office, another staff is at the remote working, so working from home. Now, you have to discuss and brainstorm for an idea. Okay. Now, you would like to see it in a real time, the ideas that you are creating. Okay, now how can you put that ideas into one particular paper, or let's call it whiteboard? Is that possible? Yes. So it's similar to physically you're using a post-it, then you post it in a whiteboard. Now can you do it virtual so that ideas will be there and ideas will be keep on coming in? Yes, you can do it virtually also, real time. So as if the others would see what is the idea that you place on the whiteboard. That's possible. Okay? And you can use MindMeister, Real-Time Board, Simple Mind, and others. Okay. Now, what is this focus apps? To work remotely, sometimes it's very hard to focus, especially when your mobile phone is near to you.
Yes, that's very
So
true.
what are the things that is it okay that maybe you can just have the notification sound, but not necessarily the that you keep on, let's say, looking at your mobile phone. Okay. I don't know. There's also software wherein you can determine who is calling by the type of what's this? By the type of the ringtone or the sound of the notification. Okay. So that if you know that that is not important, then don't open it. Or maybe you can have a certain time that you have to look for that. for the messages that you have because it could be important. So maybe at a block of every hour, but not your cell phone is there and almost every minute. And worst is if you are looking for the personal notification and you keep on browsing your FB and so on and so forth. Okay, that will make you very unproductive. Now, there are application softwares where you will be asked to focus. Okay, I have this student in my masteral class. Okay, and actually she is remote working from home. Um, Her employer is in Australia, but you know what? Their employer can determine whether you are doing something on your PC or laptop which is not related to your work. So there is also already an AI, artificial intelligence. Okay? And they could tell you what he is doing or whether you are at the table but you are sleeping. Because, meaning to
I,
say,
I like that, Dr.
yeah,
Aldrin.
because
I
if
want to
there
have that.
is inactive yung keyboard mo, so you might be questioning now, why is it that he is not typing anymore? So probably, well, in fact, he is not done yet with his task. Okay? So, and if there is a pattern, of course, you will be liable for that. And that is what I'm telling to my student. If you are given the opportunity to work remotely, to work in a co-working space, one particular aspect that you should bear in mind is the word trust. Trust. So whatever trust that is given to you, make sure you hold on to it. Okay? Because once you are trusted also, then you are doing your part always, then there will be no problem as far as the employee and employer relationship.
Right.
There are also security tools, okay, depending on what application, what kind of security that you would have to your network, to your laptop, to your mobile phone, and so on and so forth. And of course, you have some automation tools, but there's a lot. Okay, but just to give you some example, especially of what I am using, let's say cam scanner. Okay, so let's say if you have a document, okay, that you would like to send it to another in PDF form, so it's like you just have to picture it or capture it, then automatically it will be converted to PDF form. Okay? Because the usual camera in our cell phone is in a JPEG or PNG format, you still have to uh, convert it to, let's say, PDF form. Unlike for, let's say, cam scanner, it's really functioning like a scanner, but you just have to take picture or capture it. Automatically, you have the option whether you would like to have it as an image or a PDF form. Another one is creating forms. Okay, so digital forms. So you have Jot form, you have Cognito. If you want, you can have MS forms, Microsoft Office forms. Okay. Now another one is the WeTransfer. Okay, and what is the use of this WeTransfer? If you have a very large file, okay, video, pictures, which you cannot send it, attaching it to email, to the normal email, the normal email, Messenger, Viber, or there's a problem because if you're sending picture, large file, then they will try to convert it and the quality will be low. Now, so that there will be no changes as far as the quality of the pictures or videos that you are sending, there is also what you call we transfer. Okay, that you can send all those files with a higher or large file. Okay, and it is still possible through email. So you can go to, let's say, WeTransfer, then put the email address where you are sending that large file. Then that person who receives or the recipient will just access also because he will be receiving the email. Then you can just download it, and it goes directly to your laptop or to your uh, PC. So there's a lot of things. So what I'm saying is that, well, not that I'm an all-knowing person, that if I tell you, if you don't know how to automate it, you ask me, okay? Because actually, even without asking me, if you are just, or if you take the initiative to Google it, to find it on the internet, you can easily find it. The problem is that we don't try to have time to go on further education or further learning. That's why, and you know what? It is not just learning; it is more on using. Because if you learn it, you have heard it, you are not doing it, you are not implementing it, you will never learn the skills. So it doesn't
Correct.
end on learning; you have to do it. Okay, so I think I have given, and I have to wrap this up now because this is the time that we should have only about 2 hours, 10 to 12. So if there are questions which cannot be accommodated here, you can just send it through my email. My email address is aldrin_antivola@yahoo.com, or you can get in touch with me at my Facebook. Just look for Aldrin Antivola, or my number is 0917-629-6346. Or you can course it through the High Office. I think Mr. Zach can facilitate that one
Yes, of course,
of
of course.
getting those questions and just probably throw it to me. Then I will at most soonest time to answer it so I can send my reply to you. Okay, so maybe if there are questions that is posted, then you can ask questions. But if there is none, so I would like to say thank you so much, and I do hope I was able to share with you ideas which could possibly be beneficial for your business. Okay, not only on this time of pandemic, but in the future. So again, thank you so much, and I would like to thank the High Office and Caller Finder for giving me the opportunity to share my knowledge again to each and everyone, especially those who have just attended this webinar. So with that, thank you and have a blessed day to all. Bye.
All right, thank you, Dr. Aldrin.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Zach and Sir Herner.
Yeah, I've learned a lot of things during your presentation, lalo na sa mga technologies that you have mentioned na I'm not really aware of. Yung iba that you've mentioned, I'm pretty much doing that. But most of
Yes,
the
sir.
things you have said, sabi ko, wow, you're updated, Doc.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Zach, how are you there? Hi, everyone who's still watching us on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing and for not yet clicking the subscribe button. Please do it now so that you will be updated to us regarding free webinars at the moment.
Okay, so once again, thank you, Dr. Aldrin, for that very informative
Yeah.
presentation on how basically not just people who want to avail of virtual offices, but just businesses in general, how they can improve their
Correct.
processes given the current situation. So I think we have a couple of questions actually. The first question is more on the current issue regarding how the current issue regarding how the government or someone in specific wants to tax smaller businesses and online businesses. This may not be super related to the topic, but I think it has some relevance to what
Okay.
we're talking about. What's your opinion on taxing
Uh,
online businesses that are very small,
okay.
such as selling food?
Okay. Not that I'm biased, and I do training seminars. I teach, but more importantly, for all of us Filipinos, first and foremost, that we have to remember that tax is part of the economic system. So it is not enough that we just allow our businesses to go back to its usual operation, but we have to look deeper behind that. Why it is very important. Uh, Although I have a discussion for that, I call it the bathtub concept of macroeconomic. So it's very important that businesses should operate. Why? Businesses provides employment, right? And for those people who are provided with employment are the ones who are spending also the money.
Yes.
Okay. Now, for those who are spending the money, they represent the employment. Huh? Okay. This is where the country gets taxes. So they get from the individuals, then they get also taxes from the businesses. Now, the country cannot operate without taxes. Now, I think it's in the proper context. For some, they reacted, okay, and I would say overreacted, and they did not know first the details about it.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what BIR, I think, not BIR or whoever is that who tries to have that table, tax table, let's say for online sellers, this is small sellers right now who are mushrooming now, uh, they will only be taxed if they exceeded 250,000.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, meaning to say, collectively, if you don't reach yet 250,000, because if you are selling, let's say, chicharon, with a small item or small quantity only, then I think that's not a big issue. Now, as I mentioned, if it goes beyond 250,000, then that's the time, and it is fair that the country or Philippines should take taxes from you. Okay? Because, as I mentioned, that's part of the ecosystem in the economic system of our country. So there's nothing wrong about giving taxes. Okay. The only thing probably why people or businesses doesn't want to give their taxes because of this mindset that it just goes to corruption. Now, if that thinking that we can eliminate corruption and we utilize the taxes that they try to deduct from us and it goes back to the system, then it's good. Now, the only problem is if this taxes goes to corruption. That's why they have this feeling already that they don't want to cooperate, maybe, okay, and be part of that who is really giving taxes. Okay? So, in short, still it is very important that you have to pay taxes.
So
Very true.
is it already implemented?
Yes, it's uh, maybe I would suggest if you could invite an accountant who could a tax
Discuss.
accountant
Yeah.
who could discuss here in this forum or this venue, uh, so that they can also discuss that one. Okay, I would say I'm not in the authority because I'm not an accountant who could share that one. But that is what I knew, okay, as far as the law or the policy is concerned. But the details of that can be discussed in detail by an accountant probably. So it's in effect already.
Okay. Uh, yeah, we have other questions, Matt? Or the other viewers are they throwing questions right now?
That
Not
was
yet.
only that was actually our only question as of now, which I'm pretty sure means that Doctor made a very good presentation, answered all the questions during the presentation. So round of applause for Doctor Antibol.
Correct. But I
Thank you
want
so much.
to ask other question, like
Sure.
about the starstruck that you've mentioned. Very ano siya eh.
Okay.
Nakaka-LSS yung kung parang if it's a song, I keep on recalling the starstruck, but it's COVID struck that you mentioned. So
Mhm.
why did you put the first one to be on, like the survive word should be on the first one?
For the COVID struck now.
COVID struck.
Okay. Well, of course, for easy recall and good that I have seen the effect to you, okay, that it goes into your nerves now, so that is what you should do. Now, for Starstruck, as I mentioned, it is dream, believe, survive. Okay? But this time, because of COVID struck, it has to be survive. Survive first. Okay? Meaning to say, you should still be part of the ball game. Okay? And actually, for my clients, that is my, how do I call it? Like my first instruction and my first commitment to them. I don't want to see you to be part of those companies or businesses who will be saying goodbye. I will never allow it to you. So, in the best way that we can help each other for your business to survive, let's survive. Although I'm surprised that we thought it's just surviving, but in fact, it is much better than surviving. Why? So, as I mentioned a while ago, ironically, one company, they even were able to buy new equipment. Profitability is higher than what we projected for this year. Then the other one, we also projected to have at least break even, but we were able to have a net income, which is very favorable. So, meaning to say, they were able to embrace immediately how to adapt to the new normal. And that's the beauty of, again, modesty aside, if there is a mentor behind you, guiding you. Okay? And actually, in the last webinar, I invited also one of my client who attended the webinar and gave his testimony. And I was so warm-hearted of the kind words that my client have given me through that webinar. And that's the thing I would like also to happen to other entrepreneurs, especially those who are listening right now. If you really would like, if in an equation, parang ganito po yan. Okay? Micro, small, and medium business enterprises plus mentor is equal to success. So kung gusto nyong dagdagan, yun nga yun. Plus additional mentor.
I agree.
Because if you are a businessman and if you have an able mentor, the more it can grow your business.
Correct.
So
So,
I think
maraming
that's my
my
word.
mentors in the business. FYI.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr.
That's very
Yeah. I still have a question, Zach. Meron pa.
sure. I can still accommodate you.
Go lang, sir.
Okay. I just want to go back to the importance of the virtual setup. And you also did mention that we can do remote work. So why do I need
Yes,
to have a virtual office if I can do it at home,
at
Doctor?
home. Okay. For example, you're doing it at home. Then you have your marketing collateral, and your address is Maligaya Street, block something. Okay. For branding purposes, probably you failed already. But if it is eighth floor, this building, Philinvest, Alabang,
Mhm.
then what will be the branding? Ooh, okay. And when they call, they would have uh, or be addressed with a receptionist, okay, who would be answering the call. So it's very professional. Unlike at home, hello, sino to? Ano po yun? Then it
Right.
fails already. That's the advantage of having co-working space. Okay? So that's why I still mention the remote work from home because if you are not in the co-working space, probably you will be fine outside the co-working space or probably at your home. But you know what? It's much better. Why? Because it's like 24 by 7, you can operate. Probably if you're sleeping, you can still receive whatever is that if let's say the co-working space has this kind of services also. Okay, so there's a lot of advantages, which probably later on we can discuss it further, so that you would see exactly the benefits of it. Okay, so I think that's my answer to that, Sir Herner.
That's good. Mhm. Um, Meron pa. Is it okay?
Yeah, sure, sure.
What do you think the best attitude of an entrepreneur should have at this point that we do have a pandemic or still having this COVID-19?
Sorry.
What attitude that you think right now for business owners should have or should possess during this pandemic, Dr. Aldrin?
Okay, there are two types of mindset. So rather than having attitude, which my answer, if it is attitude, of course, it should be positive attitude
Mhm.
or winning attitude. But attitude is just part. What is important is the mindset. And there are two types of mindset. And what is that mindset? A fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And for those who are in this situation right now, I would rather tell you you should have a growth mindset.
Mhm.
Okay? Try to embrace that mindset, adapt to that mindset, hindi yung lahat na lang problema ang iniisip ninyo. In
Yeah.
fact, pag inisip mong growth mindset, possible ba yon? Na kahit may pandemic na, growth mindset pa rin? Yes. Okay? Yes. I can tell that to you because I have done it to my clients. And that is possible. Adopt a growth mindset.
Mhm. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Aldrin.
Thank you
Very
so much.
informative and yeah, with the presentation overall, I salute you, Doc.
Thank you so much. Thank you. My
It's
pleasure,
really a
sir.
big
My
help.
pleasure.
It's really a big help for business owners, entrepreneurs like me, having difficulties. I cannot say that I'm not affected. We are. I am affected, but I totally agree with what you've mentioned about coping. That you need to conform rather than not conforming, or else you will
Yes.
lose in the game, right?
Correct.
Hmm. Zach, how are you there?
I'm okay.
Are you learning?
Of course, I'm learning. I'm the host of this webinar. I was listening as you two were going at it.
Okay.
But yeah, so once again, I'd like to thank Dr. Aldrin and Tivola for being our guest speaker for today's
Yeah, my
webinar.
pleasure, Zach. Thank you so much also.
Thank you so much, and thank you
Thank you.
to
It's a really honor to have you, Dr. Aldrin.
Sir
Yes.
Hernard for joining us today as our guest host and for asking his questions. Hopefully, we'll be seeing more of Sir
Yes.
Hernard in our future webinars and Dr. Aldrin as well. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Sure.
so with that being said, that is the end of today's webinar. I hope everyone here learned. If you have any questions, you may email it at thehighofficetho@gmail.com. It is in the chat box. Or you may just contact us on our Facebook pages or our official website, www.thehighoffice.com. So with that being said, I'd like to thank everyone for watching and have a good day.